WrestleDude!
Hello everybody, and welcome to Talking Takeover Episode 2 here on the WrestleDude YouTube channel. This is your Talking Takeover episode for NXT Takeover New Orleans. NXT Takeover New Orleans took place 2 nights ago. I'm actually filming this on April 9th, 2018. So this is after NXT Takeover and after WrestleMania. So the reason why I didn't want to do it on the day of WrestleMania is because it would have been very, very long. And also, as soon as I got home from work at like 5 o'clock, I wanted to get everything ready for my takeover party that I was having, my takeover viewing party. So I wouldn't have the time to do this review. But thankfully, my notes still survived. The last time I did an episode like this, which was the review for NXT Takeover Philadelphia, which you guys can watch after this if you would like to. Where are my manners? I should actually introduce the channel itself. My name is Jacob from the WrestleDude channel. I'm a huge wrestling fan and I'm a huge gamer, and I started doing this podcast and review for the NXT Takeover events, seeing as though it would be pretty easy considering there's only a couple Takeover events every year, and the last episode did pretty well, so I'm bringing it back with NXT Takeover New Orleans. We're going to go play by play through every match. I'm going to give my opinions on some of the matches, and at the end, you guys are going to give me your comments in the comments section, and I want to see what you guys thought of NXT Takeover New Orleans. And the way that you can stay in the conversation for any of these takeover review shows or any video on my channel, you can subscribe if you like the content that's on here. I know I have the NXT Universe mode that I play on 2K18. I have some other games that I play, and I'm always looking for feedback from fans and stuff that you would want me to do on the channel. But we're going to go and get right into NXT TakeOver New Orleans as we start things off with the inaugural NXT North American Championship, a 6-man ladder match. So we're going to start going through my notes here. Something that I need to understand is when I'm doing notes, sometimes I miss stuff. So if I missed something anywhere on this show, please, for the love of God, tell me in the comment section, because I will go back and rewatch that part just so I can experience that moment that I missed. But I'm pretty sure I did pretty good in the first match up here. So like I said, 6-man ladder match, NXT North American Championship, inaugural winner. We get the entrances. Velveteen Dream comes out. He reminded me of the guy from, what was it, that Disney movie, Princess and the Frog, I believe it was, like the voodoo guy. Lars Sullivan comes out. Lars Sullivan was my pick to win this ladder match. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but oh well, it's still a great match. He still looked great. Ricochet comes out. He has an excellent entrance. The crowd pops big for it. EC3 comes out. Something that I wrote down here is WWE found a way to get around why EC3 is so rich, and they say that it's because his family owns a lot of restaurants and a lot of properties. They didn't mention Impact Wrestling or TNA or anything like that. I did like how they got their way around that. So anyways, we start off the match. There's a big brawl. Everybody pairs off and does their big spots. At one point, outside the ring, I believe it's Lars Sullivan and Killian Dane, they're fighting each other, and out of nowhere, Ricochet comes out of nowhere and hits a huge springboard shooting star press. Ricochet's first big move of his NXT career on screen. I know he's, well, on screen. His first move in a match on screen in NXT gets a huge pop, and I did put that on my notes here. Crowd had a huge reaction. So anyways, the match continues. Lars Sullivan goes on a huge tear, starts going through everybody. At one point, Killian Dane gets him on the outside. Killian Dane does a big dive through the ropes. I don't know if we've seen him do that in NXT. If I have, please tell me in the comments. The match continues. Everybody starts getting in the ring. Lars Sullivan comes up to the apron holding a ladder, and this is at one point where the commentators say Lars Sullivan is like Donkey Kong, and instead of throwing barrels, he throws the ladder at everyone who's in the ring, and the ladder takes everybody out. And so the match continues. Lars Sullivan and Ricochet are on the ladder. Ricochet is fighting Lars Sullivan and attempts a sunset flip powerbomb, but Lars Sullivan is too big, so Ricochet gets some help, I believe, from Adam Cole and EC3. Adam Cole is alone on the ladder, and he's looking dead at the hard cam. And he says, like, oh my god, I can win this right now. And so he's running up the ladder. He's trying to get it. Adam Cole is bad-mouthing Killian Dane. And then Killian Dane just destroys him. And Killian Dane goes on a tear. Killian Dane climbs up the ladder. EC3 hits a nice bulldog off the ladder. Not from too high ups, but it's okay. At one point, Killian Dane... This is a little bit further in the match. Killian Dane gets EC3 down. Dane puts a ladder over EC3. Dane then goes up to the second rope to do a Vader bomb onto the ladder onto EC3. Adam Cole jumps onto Killian Dane and does like a sleeper hold to try and like stop him, because apparently Adam Cole and EC3 have like a partnership going on in this match. And Killian Dane says, you know what, screw it. And Dane friggin' does the Vader bomb with Adam Cole on his back onto EC3, onto that ladder, and it drives the freaking ladder into EC3. And at this point, I thought EC3 was like dead, because he didn't react. And normally when something like that happens, a superstar reacts. But at this point, friggin' EC3 is just laying there, and I'm looking at it like, oh my god, he's not moving, something's wrong. But apparently he was, because they continued on. We got a ladder bridge. EC3 and Adam Cole work together for a little while until EC3 taps Adam Cole on the shoulder and says, hey, watch this. And EC3 does Adam Cole's shtick, and he says, EC3, baby! And you can see behind him, Adam Cole does not like that at all. So EC3 turns around, Adam Cole takes him out, and then there's a huge super kick party by Adam Cole, culminating in Ricochet jumping off the top rope and Adam Cole super kicking Ricochet, which was really good. Cole tries to climb the ladder, but Lars Sullivan stops him. And then Lars climbs the ladder. Velveteen Dream stops Lars Sullivan. And Velveteen Dream now goes on a tear, which he goes on a elbow drop party. So he goes and he keeps hitting elbow drops on everybody from every corner. And it culminates in Lars Sullivan down on the ground. Velveteen Dream sets us a ladder, goes to the very tippy top of the ladder. So he's not just like standing on one of the rungs close to the top. He goes absolutely to the top of the ladder, and he delivers the Purple Rainmaker elbow to Lars Sullivan. That was freaking crazy. I'm sure somebody has that as their screensaver by now. EC3, Velveteen Dream, he's climbing the ladder. EC3, do I have that here? Oh, well. Well, I have here EC3 hits a powerbomb onto the ladder. So there we go. Adam Cole and EC3 are on the ladder. This is where it comes in. So Adam Cole and EC3 are on the ladder. EC3 hits a TKO from off the ladder. That's what I thought was going on. And then, yeah, EC3 looked dead. And there was another point during that Vader bomb with the ladder. Mauro Ranallo says that EC3 must feel like he's at 1%, which I thought was a really good line. Then Ricochet goes on to a tear until he turns and goes into Lars Sullivan, where Lars Sullivan just throws him across the ring to Killian Dane, and then Dane throws him back. And I wrote here that was some badass back and forth. And then Killian Dane goes for the crossbody, but Lars Sullivan catches in. And Lars Sullivan takes out Killian Dane. Lars Sullivan is on his own, and Ricochet stops Lars Sullivan, but Lars Sullivan ends up tipping the ladder that Ricochet's on, but Ricochet reverses it and hits a moonsault onto two people that are outside the ring, which is freaking crazy. I thought that was really good. One thing, I've never seen a lot of Ricochet matches. I've heard of Ricochet, but I haven't seen a lot of his matches, not even like the whole choreographed one with him and Will Ospreay. I've never even seen that, but this was really good. I liked what he did here. So here we go. EC3, we go on a little bit further in the match. EC3 puts Ricochet onto the top rope, but Ricochet counters, and Ricochet hits a shooting star splash onto EC3 onto a ladder, which was really good, and then Ricochet starts to climb the ladder. Velveteen Dream stops Ricochet. Ricochet moves out of the way when Dream tries to hit him with a ladder, and thus they create like a ladder bridge, and then both men get on top of the ladder. And this was one of the craziest spots of the match. Velveteen Dream gets Ricochet up and hits a cartwheel driver. And if you don't know what that is, it's a fireman's carry Death Valley driver, but it's almost like you're doing a cartwheel, so you just jump up and you like spin, and it looked freaking hellacious. I thought when they did the jump, the ladder was going to like come out from underneath them, but thankfully it didn't. It worked out pretty good. I mean, as good as it can be driving somebody onto a steel ladder. So Lars Sullivan puts Velveteen Dream onto the ladder bridge that's on the outside. EC3 goes after Lars Sullivan. Bad idea, because Lars Sullivan picks up EC3 and hits a freak accident through Velveteen Dream and through the ladder bridge. And if you pause it after the moment when they go through the ladder and you look at EC3's face, his reaction is just perfect. And then Killian Dane tries to one-up them. Adam Cole attacks Killian Dane, so Killian Dane picks him up and hits a Michinoku driver onto Adam Cole through Ricochet, I believe, through another ladder. And then this is one of my favorite friggin' commentary bits of the night, where Mauro Ronaldo says this is like NXT's Infinity War. And it's not about the 6 Infinity Stones. It's about these 6 men, and if they have the stones to go through this match. I thought that was freaking great. Lars and Killian Dane get back in the ring. They're climbing up the ladder, and it culminates in everybody getting up on the ladders, and then everybody starts dropping like flies. And then I believe Adam Cole or Ricochet hits a big neck breaker off the top of the ladder. Killian Dane and Lars Sullivan are the only two on the ladders. Ricochet stops Lars Sullivan from grabbing the title after Lars Sullivan hits a big freak accident onto Killian Dane from off the ladder. I thought Lars was going to win here, but then no, Ricochet stops him, and it like tumbles over all of the ladders. So Ricochet goes up, he's about to grab the title, and then Adam Cole stops him, and then Adam Cole dumps him off the ladder. Cole climbs the ladder, and Adam Cole is your inaugural NXT North American Champion. This was a great, great ladder match. It's very rare that I see any ladder matches that make me this invested, but all these superstars, they've built them up so well, and I honestly am not mad that I got this prediction wrong. Lars Sullivan I just picked because he's one of my favorite NXT guys. I would have been fine with anybody winning this match. Literally nobody would have been a bad choice to win this match, because they've done so well creating all of these characters and making them feel so organic. It is just incredible. So a really good opening for NXT Takeover New Orleans, I believe. And your inaugural NXT North American Champion is none other than the Undisputed Era's Adam Cole, baby. But that's just his first match of the night. And coming up next, we have Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler. This is for the NXT Women's Championship. This is a rematch from NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. NXT TakeOver Philadelphia's match, I feel like, might have been a little bit better than this, but this did have its moments, and if I'm picking one match where it didn't really do as much for me, this would definitely be it. But that's not to say it was a bad match. This was still a great match. It was just that out of all the matches on the card, it just wasn't that strong for me. And I've heard a lot of criticism about Ember Moon's character and really about this storyline, because it kind of whispers into the whole Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar thing. Shayna Baszler being Brock Lesnar, the MMA person that doesn't respect the ways of WWE. Ember Moon being the Roman Reigns who's trying to keep this UFC MMA style person from disrespecting the company. I can understand that, but I still feel like they've done their part into making this feel like a big feud, especially after they've already had a match at TakeOver Philadelphia. So Ember Moon gets a special entrance. She gets played to the ring by some awesome music. Shayna Baszler didn't have her Goldberg entrance this time that she did at Philadelphia, which was kind of weird. So the match starts off, Ember Moon goes in for a kick, but Shayna Baszler just punches her once and completely knocks her out. And there's a big brawl on the outside. They get although they get back in the ring, and Ember Moon hits a nice second rope code breaker, which I thought was really good. That catches up into a submission hold by Ember Moon. The match continues. A kick is caught head first, and so Shayna Baszler goes on an onslaught. Ember Moon hits a nice Kanrana counter, I believe, out of a submission hold. And then Ember Moon hits a nice springboard forearm. Ember Moon gets caught with a big knee by Shayna Baszler. I'm just reading through my notes here, so I might have written them down. Kind of weird. Ember Moon gets caught in a clutch attempt, but Ember Moon is able to counter. Moon goes for, I believe it's called the Lunar Combo. It's just a combination of strikes, and it ends up with a suplex and a kip up. Ember Moon hits then a nice slingshot complete shot, or a sliding complete shot. So she slides in on her knees, grabs Shayna Baszler by the neck, and slams her down into a complete shot, or like a setup for a Koji clutch, which I thought she was going to try and go for a Koji clutch, but apparently not. And then Ember Moon tries to go for a springboard, but Shayna Baszler counters. Baszler then goes for the arm stomp, the move that she's been using on several competitors, but Ember Moon is able to counter. Moon gets her down, and Moon does the arm smash to Shayna Baszler, so Baszler is now one-armed, although Moon goes up to the top rope trying to hit the Eclipse, but Shayna Baszler stops her, making her fall down to the ground. Baszler goes out to the apron, and this is a spot that I've thought of would be a great spot in a wrestling match with a badass character. As soon as I saw this, I was like, that is awesome. That is genius. So, like I said, Moon did the arm smash to Shayna Baszler, thus injuring her shoulder, possibly dislocating it. Baszler goes out to the apron and slams her shoulder into the ring post, popping her shoulder back into place, which I thought was freaking great. And then Shayna Baszler goes over and tries to get Ember Moon, but Ember Moon knocks her off down to the floor. Ember Moon hits the Eclipse on the outside of the ring, but like I said, it's on the outside of the ring, so she's got to get her back inside the ring. Ember Moon then does. Both women get back in the ring in time, but then Ember Moon gets caught into the clutch. Moon, though, attacks the arm, and though Shayna Baszler gets it into a triangle choke, another submission hold, Ember Moon, though, with a huge bam power bomb, getting her out. Moon goes up to the top rope and goes for the Eclipse, but Shayna Baszler catches the Eclipse. I know Asuka kicked out of the Eclipse, but I don't believe anybody's been able to counter the Eclipse like that, and the Eclipse countered into a Koji clutch. It is a really long hold, and there were several parts where I thought Moon could get to the ropes. This was much like their last match, except Baszler had an arm bar in, which was very smart. This time, there's only one real way to counter the Koji clutch into a pinfall, which would be the way that Finn Balor countered the Koji clutch against Samoa Joe at TakeOver Dallas, I believe. Or TakeOver London, maybe. Maybe it was TakeOver London, which would be to roll her up. But thankfully, Shayna Baszler remembered the last matchup, didn't try to go for the arm bar for the finish, because otherwise she could have got rolled up. But anyways, Ember Moon tries to get to the ropes. Baszler then rolls back to the center of the ring. It's a long submission hold, and Ember Moon is getting choked out with one arm by Baszler, so she's still not using that arm that got injured, even though she popped it back into place. But then Ember Moon ultimately passes out, and your new NXT Women's Champion is Shayna Baszler. They did some shots of Ronda Rousey and Jessamine Duke, I believe, in the crowd after this. And yeah, this was really good. Like I said, I still believe the Philadelphia match was better of the three. Yes, they did have three matches, because there was one on NXT TV. That was one where Kairi Sane came back. But yeah, I still feel like Philadelphia was still the better of the three. I definitely think this leads to Ember Moon being called up to the main roster, and I'm excited to see where Shayna Baszler goes as a NXT Women's Champion on NXT. I don't know who her next challenger would be, though. I would believe Kairi Sane, maybe even Candice LeRae, because you already have a story built up there from the Mae Young Classic. Baszler, after she beat Candice LeRae, had that little face-off there. I feel like that would be pretty cool for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4, I believe. I don't know if that's their next TakeOver event, because they only do a TakeOver event for all the big pay-per-views, so like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. I might be missing one. I don't know. If I am, let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, coming up next, a triple threat tag team title match, also for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournament Trophy. And I am actually very proud of predicting something in this match that not many people thought was going to happen, but I predicted it. I did it. Haha. But anyways, the match starts off, brawl ensues, the Authors of Pain immediately go after Adam Cole, so everybody gets taken out, and Adam Cole gets put through the announcer's table by the Authors of Pain. So that took Adam Cole out for a long, long time, and so Kyle O'Reilly is fighting in the ring with Pete Dunne, and then out of nowhere, Roderick Strong comes in, and Strong goes on a huge tear, and this leads into a sequence with Kyle O'Reilly, who gets, I believe, Roderick Strong into a submission hold, and then one of the Authors of Pain comes in. I believe it was Razor. I could be wrong. Like I said, it's been 2 days since I've watched this, so I might be off a little bit. But then Kyle O'Reilly gets both of them in a submission hold, and it's freaking great. I think one of them is like a triangle choke, and then the other one is an ankle lock. But then the other Author of Pain takes Pete Dunne and powerbombs him onto Kyle O'Reilly, and then the Authors of Pain take control. And there's a moment in this where I believe it's Pete Dunne is going after Kyle O'Reilly. Well, Kyle O'Reilly is fighting with somebody, and then he gets suplexed, and he stands up, and I believe this is just starting to become a thing with Kyle O'Reilly. Like, at TakeOver events, he'll have this, like, goofy spot, because at War Games, it was that he went to swing a chair, it hits the ropes, bounces back, and hits him. At TakeOver Philadelphia, it was, he's getting beaten up by the Authors of Pain on the outside, and he tries to get up on the ring apron, and ultimately just falls over like a drunk person off the apron. And then here, he gets up from, I believe, a suplex. He starts hulking up like New Japan style. He screams. He's like, ah! And then he's like, he friggin' falls over once again like a drunk person and perfectly falls through the ropes out of the ring. And you can hear like a lot of the crowd laughing. I just thought that was great. I'm gonna have my eye out for that from now on. Like, I'm gonna have my eye out for the next TakeOver event where Kyle O'Reilly is involved. We're gonna try and rank the Kyle O'Reilly moments, but Kyle O'Reilly's great, especially his like air guitar stuff with the championship. I think that stuff's great. So Pete Dunne goes on a tear. Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly do this awesome striking sequence, but the Authors of Pain break it up. They hit the Super Collider, and the last chapter try to go for the pin, but Roderick Strong saves it, and then Pete Dunne does some joint manipulation on Razor's fingers, snapping them, kind of, I don't know what that does for Razor, like his fingers are hurt, oh well. But Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong hit their combination on Razor, but Akam saves the matchup. But then Kyle O'Reilly gets back in the ring, but is succumbed by Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne hits the bitter end on Kyle O'Reilly, goes for the pin, and Roderick Strong breaks it up. Strong hits the end of Heartache onto Pete Dunne, puts Kyle O'Reilly onto Pete Dunne, and the Undisputed Era retain the tag team titles. Adam Cole barely getting involved on the matchup because Roderick Strong turned heel and joins the Undisputed Era. And after the matchup, Adam Cole gets back in the ring. He's sitting there with Kyle O'Reilly. They're stunned. Strong puts a foot on Pete Dunne's stomach and like walks over him, takes the strap, the Undisputed Era wristband off of Adam Cole and puts it on himself, and they pose on stage with Bobby Fish, who's on crutches, and Roderick Strong is now a heel in the Undisputed Era, and Kyle O'Reilly is doing his air guitar. My God, that was an incredible triple threat tag team match. It was great. The heel turn I saw coming, that I predicted in my predictions video. I predicted that the Undisputed Era were going to win with help from a heel turning Roderick Strong, and I'm so glad that I friggin' predicted it. But the thing is, I forgot that I predicted it. I didn't, because when it happened, I was like, what the flip? Well, I didn't say flip, but this is a PG podcast. But my God, I was so happy that that came out of nowhere, because it was just so great and so perfectly done. And if this leads to where I think it is, which I think it's going to be the Undisputed Era versus British Strong Style, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven, that's going to be an awesome friggin' match. That's going to be on par with the Shield versus the Wyatts from the Elimination Chamber back in 2014, I believe. But either way, that is going to be a great, great match. And this was too. I really like the outcome of it. So the Undisputed Era are also your Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic winners. So once again, the Undisputed Era living up to their moniker and shocking the system. Definitely, I got shocked. Coming up next, we had Andrade Cien Almas defending the NXT Championship against one Aleister Black, who still has my favorite theme song in all of WWE. Great promo package. I really wish they would have talked about the fact that Aleister Black beat Andrade Cien Almas in his debut match, but then again, they did kind of find a way around that, saying that this is a different Cien Almas. My first note of this, as soon as I saw that this matchup was coming up, I was so excited that Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa was main eventing, because that deserved to be the main event. All due respect to the NXT Championship, a storyline that's been going on for so long is Ciampa and Gargano. That deserves to be the main event, aside from the NXT Championship match. So here we go. First thing of note, Aleister Black got a beard trim. That was really the first thing that I noticed, is Aleister Black's beard looked very, very much shorter. So Andrade comes out, the match starts, they have a little bit of an exchange. Andrade goes out of the ring, and Black, he goes off the ropes to do a dive, springs back. Everybody thinks he's going to do his crisscross applesauce move, but no, he goes right on the attack, going for a triangle moonsault and hits it. Gets him back in the ring, and the referee's distracted, but Zelina Vega gets back up onto the apron and hits a Hurricane Rana into the steel stairs. So the first sense of Vega getting involved in this matchup has already taken place, and the crowd is PO'd right now. So Andrade goes on the attack, hitting some big moves, goes out to the apron for a springboard, but gets caught by a huge V-trigger by Aleister Black, and Aleister Black goes into a comeback sequence, kind of like in the video games, and it goes into a sequence where Andrade gets control again, goes up, does a double moonsault, the one where he does a moonsault, his opponent rolls out of the way, but he lands on his feet, hits another moonsault, and so he tries to hit it again. Aleister Black goes up on the top rope. This might be the first time we've ever seen Aleister Black on the top rope in NXT, I believe the commentators pointed out. So Andrade stops him, but then Aleister Black goes for a sunset flip. Aleister Black flips him over. Cien counters, lands on his feet, goes for the corner knees. Andrade counters and hits a German suplex and a double moonsault. Some back and forth strikes. Both men hit some huge kicks on each other's heads, and they're both down. Black runs into Andrade, and Andrade hits a hip toss and sends Black into the corner. Aleister Black attempts another moonsault, but Aleister Black, attempts another moonsault on the apron, like his Kanrana moonsault, but Andrade catches him and tosses him outside the ring, and Andrade hits a huge triangle twirling corkscrew splash outside the ring, and immediately throws him back in the ring, but only gets a 2 count. And then Andrade tells Zelina to go get the championship. And Andrade grabs the championship. The referee's going over. He's distracted. Vega slides into the ring behind the referee and hits a huge spiking Kanrana, once again getting involved. Andrade goes for the cover, but still just a 2 count. No title change, no title retention just yet. Andrade goes for the hammerlock DDT, but it gets countered into a roll-up. And then they get back up, and Aleister Black, boom, Black Mass kick, but Vega gets his foot on the rope at the very last second. And once again, Zelina Vega getting involved, and to her credit, she helps Andrade out for just a little bit longer. So Zelina Vega stops Aleister Black from doing any kind of more damage. But then Andrade gets him caught up in the corner, and so he has to go for his apron foot stomp, and then he gets him back in the ring, does corner knees, but only for a 2 count. Aleister Black somehow gets back up, but then gets caught with a huge black mass kick, countered as Aleister Black is spinning around to do the black mass kick. Andrade drop kicks him in the back of the neck. I thought that was really good. Um, this sends Aleister Black out to the apron where Andrade does the knees into the face, into the ring post that we saw against him and Johnny Gargano at TakeOver Philadelphia. Goes for the top rope DDT that he used to beat Drew McIntyre and Gargano. Black counters it and sends Andrade over the top rope, and it's a huge dive. Sends Andrade back into the ring and gets caught with a hammerlock DDT, but thankfully only a 2 count. And in the end, Zelina Vega goes up to the top rope trying to get involved again. He tries to hit a splash on Aleister Black. Black rolls out of the way. Andrade catches her in a crossbody position, and Aleister Black, boom, another black mass to Andrade, who's holding Zelina Vega. And then Black gets the 3 count. Aleister Black is the new NXT champion, which is freaking great. But you know something that's scary? During the freaking celebration, I wrote down here in my notes, the only thing scarier than like Lars Sullivan or Killian Dane is the sight of Aleister Black smiling like he did. I understand that he just won a championship that he's been looking for like over a year, but good God, that freaking smile just scared the crap out of me. But it was still a great moment. I still loved it, and I'm sure all of you guys did too. Otherwise, you wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as I did. And up next, your main event: Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa in an unsanctioned matchup. A matchup that has been almost a year in the making. So we start things off. Tommaso Ciampa comes to the ring. No music. No music, just like he has been doing for the past couple of weeks whenever he goes out to do his promo against Johnny Gargano. He has no music. He has Titantron graphics and an awesome outfit. I thought it looked really cool. But he has no music, and I wrote down here, this is better than Dolph Ziggler's entrance that has like the weird-ass record scratch at the beginning. Also, something I noticed when Ciampa was coming to the ring, there's new referee shirts. There's a new ref shirt for this matchup. I don't know if this was how it was all night with the NXT shirts, where it was like a black shirt with like the NXT logo, and he had black gloves on. I don't know if that was just specially for this takeover match, but I thought it looked really cool. Johnny Gargano came out, sticking with the theme of like Marvel and comic book characters. He came out dressed up, I thought, like Thor from Thor Ragnarok. That was just my idea of what it was. It looked really cool. So the matchup starts. Gargano and Ciampa immediately start like brawling. They're punching each other. It doesn't start up with like a lockup or anything. Gargano immediately goes out to the apron, hits a slingshot spear, gets Ciampa into the corner, and starts stomping a mud hole into him. Gargano hits a dive through the ropes on Ciampa. They're battling on the outside. Gargano Irish whips Ciampa, sending him into the crowd. Gargano then dives over the barricade onto Ciampa, although Ciampa immediately takes advantage, gets back up and hits a suplex onto the barricade, onto the metal barricade piece. Gargano gets put onto the barricade, and they climb back over onto the other side, down by ringside, and Ciampa goes over and takes apart a piece of the mat that's covering up the concrete floor. And immediately there, I thought this is going to be very interesting. And so Ciampa tries to go for a suplex, tries to suplex Gargano onto the concrete, but Gargano gets up on the apron and hits a super kick from the apron. Gargano then goes after and tries to collect Ciampa, but Ciampa then tosses Gargano over the announce table and into Percy Watson. Like, no other commentator got hit as much as Percy Watson did, and I felt bad for him. And so the commentary gets taken out, and the crowd, with a great chant, they chant, "Mamma Mia." I thought that was friggin' great. But then Ciampa goes after Gargano, but then Gargano takes advantage. He takes apart the announce table. They're both up on the announce table. Um, in this moment, Gargano tries to go for a powerbomb. He lifts Ciampa up, and good God, he friggin' wedgied him so bad. If you don't think you can handle it, don't do it. But if you want to, go back and watch. Good God, Ciampa showed way too much ass. Like, friggin' his entire rear end was out during this moment, and I had to look away for a second. And I'm pretty sure the crowd caught on to this too, because I don't know if it was just the thought that they were going to see a power bomb off the off the announce table, or the fact that they just had Ciampa mooning them, or at least that particular part of the crowd. But it ends up Ciampa takes advantage. Gargano took too long. Ciampa then hits a suplex off the table onto Johnny Gargano. Both men fall down to the floor. Both men are in pain. Ciampa gets back up and takes the small announce table cover and puts Gargano through the announce table cover. Ciampa then takes control. He has a submission hold on him, although Gargano gets out to the apron, and so Ciampa then stomps on his head, and he's sitting there on the apron. He's doing like a little bit of clapping, and he goes underneath the ring, and he's trying to look for something, and he's arguing with the referee. He's like, "Where did you put it?" And the referee is like, "I didn't touch anything." So apparently Ciampa like put his crutches underneath the ring, but apparently I guess like the ring crew or something like that like took him out from underneath the ring earlier. So Ciampa's looking around for weapons, and he sees this guy in the crowd, which was obviously a plant by WWE. He's wearing a Gargano T-shirt, and he takes both of the guy's crutches, and then immediately the guy gets escorted off by security. So you know he was a plant by WWE. So Ciampa takes the crutches, and he tries to take one crutch and swing it at Gargano, but Gargano continues to counter. This leads to a sequence where Johnny Gargano hits a big apron slingshot DDT, but it's countered. Gargano gets him onto his shoulders, trying to hit that, what do you call it, white noise, onto the part of the floor where it's concreted, but Gargano counters that and gets Ciampa onto his shoulders for a power bomb, and a sunset flip power bomb pretty much onto the concrete. Good Lord, I had to rewatch this like 3 times because the sound that Ciampa's freaking back and head make when they thud against that concrete, it was just painful. And you could hear the crowd chanting to Ciampa, "You deserve it," which is very funny. And then the match continues. Both men get back in the ring. There's a crutch center of the ring. There's a crutch in the center of the ring. So both men run and grab the crutch. Gargano grabs the crutch but hesitates, smashing it into Ciampa. So Gargano goes for the shot. Johnny goes over the top ropes with another shot. A slingshot DDT though, but Gargano gets a 2 count. Gargano exposes the middle turnbuckle and tries to go for a lawn dart, but gets countered. Then he gets sent out to the ring, goes for a slingshot DDT, or a slingshot spear. Ciampa catches him with a knee, but then gets hit with a powerbomb he gets him up into a torture rack and spins him out into a powerbomb for only a 2 count. Ciampa then hits a DIY style knee to the back of the head, but only for a 2 count. Goes for the power bomb, but it's countered. Gargano slaps Ciampa and says, "This is my moment." And then Ciampa counters with a clothesline of his own, and then goes for another power bomb. Gargano counters and gets him into the Gargano escape, but Ciampa scrapes his eyes. And both men do a scene where they're doing slow punches, yay, boo. But then Ciampa hits a low blow and then does like grabs the other crutch and does like a discus spin and then a crutch shot to the back, and it looked like it friggin' hurt. And then a power bomb, a lung blower, but only for a 2 count. I believe they call that move the Project Ciampa, the powerbomb lung blower. He used it in the Cruiserweight Classic match, but it was only for a 2 count there as well. And Johnny Gargano crawls to Ciampa, kind of reminiscent of that scene at TakeOver when he turned on him. Ciampa goes for a discus clothesline, but but Gargano counters into a super kick and then lifts him up into the lawn dart and lawn darts him into the exposed turnbuckle. And then Gargano hits two kneeling super kicks, one of them with the DIY style like hand movements, but it's only for a 2 count. But then Gargano gets him up onto the top rope, and Ciampa somehow gets further in the match. Ciampa gets Gargano on the top rope for that top rope white noise, but Gargano is able to counter. He's going for a Hurricane Rana. Ciampa counters and hits a powerbomb lung blower from off the top rope, but it's a lot of hesitation, so when Ciampa goes for the pin, it goes, and it's only a 2 count. And apparently Ciampa hurt his knee doing that, so he takes off his knee brace, which I wrote here. That was obviously a bad idea. So the knee pad is off. He's going for another running knee strike. So Gargano grabs the metal knee brace, and as Ciampa runs in for a knee strike, he hits the knee, the exposed knee, with the metal knee brace, which I told you, it was a bad idea to take that friggin' knee brace off. So Gargano now has the crutch, and he stomps it in half, and he makes a sharp point out of one of the crutches, and he goes to freaking stab Ciampa with it, but he stops. He stops himself from using it. He's showing mercy, and Ciampa's eye, like they do a close-up, and his eye is like swollen shut, which kind of makes it look like, I know I saw this on Twitter afterwards, but it makes it look like Johnny Gargano's little emoji face, which it was a happy accident, but it looked freaking incredible. Just even the universe knew that more storytelling had to be put into this, which is freaking great. But yeah, both men are like staring at each other. Ciampa already knows that he's lost, and he's looking at Gargano, and he's like, I just wanted my moment. And Gargano like stops himself from using the crutch. They sit down next to each other, much like the Cruiserweight Classic. But this time, Ciampa tries to hit him with the knee brace that's sitting next to him, but Gargano counters and gets him into the Gargano escape. Ciampa is countering as well. Gargano grabs the freaking knee brace, the metal knee brace, wrenches it around Ciampa's face, almost in an STF style, and Ciampa taps out immediately, and Gargano wins. He has his job back. Candice LeRae comes down and celebrates with Gargano. It was just freaking awesome, and this was by far the best match on the card. I know I did a list last year of the top 10 matches from NXT Takeover events, and definitely this year I'm gonna have a lot of choices to pick from. That matchup between Gargano and Andrade at Takeover Philadelphia, this match, the ladder match. There are so many freaking matches that are going to be put onto that list for 2018. But my god, the storytelling in this matchup was so good. I loved it so much. This was a great match. Both guys did everything perfectly. The ending was perfect. Gargano now being back on NXT, I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, if Ciampa goes up to the main roster, then that kind of sucks because he didn't really get a lot of time in NXT as a singles competitor. Gargano did, which is why I believe I had Ciampa winning. Well, if I could have seen Ciampa winning and then Gargano going up to SmackDown, because there was a clip from a live event, or an Access event, where Daniel Bryan said he wanted Gargano on SmackDown Live, which is where I thought it was going to be heading, where Gargano goes to SmackDown Live, and Ciampa, being the new heel, then goes on to face Aleister Black for the NXT Championship as being a big heel. But I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I feel like this is going to be really freaking interesting. A lot of interesting stuff coming out of TakeOver tonight. We have Adam Cole as the new NXT North American Champion. Shayna Baszler, the new NXT Women's Champion. Aleister Black, the new NXT Champion. Roderick Strong joining the Undisputed Era. That's going to be very interesting. And now Johnny Gargano back on NXT, which is, once again, going to be very interesting. So, the outcomes of this TakeOver event, interesting. The in-ring work, incredible. I am just blown away by how good this was, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And if you guys enjoyed this review, you guys can leave a like on the video. You can follow me on social media. You can find the links for all that on my channel page. You can visit our website. The link for that is in the description of this. It's a kind of fun website. But I hope you guys enjoyed NXT Takeover New Orleans. I know I did. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to watch any of my previous videos or my previous takeover review, there will be a link for it on screen now. If you guys want to watch the top 10 takeover match list from last year, you can watch it now. But other than that, I have been Jacob from the WrestleDude channel, and I will see you guys next time.